On this edition of Falmouth in Focus, eyes up and goggles on. We've got Eclipse Safety 101 from a Falmouth High School science boss. The best and brightest in the local tourism biz compare notes on how to make Cape Cod truly yours. And Charlie Bucket finds his golden ticket right here in Falmouth as Highfield Theater turns into a giant chocolate factory. This is Falmouth in Focus, and it starts right now. Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, our bi-monthly roundup of local events and FCTV member engagement with the community. I'm Michael Kasparian.
And I'm Eileen Preston. We've got all that coming up, but first we're starting with local policy efforts to combat violence, whether it's within the four walls of the home or whether it's related to political grievances. Let's start with that first item. Domestic violence, and a recent presentation by the Barnstable County Sheriff's Office at Falmouth's Public Library. The White Ribbon Day event, as it's known, was a partnership between local police departments, the Sheriff's Office, the Cape and Islands District Attorney's Office, and a nonprofit called the Independence House.
The purpose of the event was to move toward ending violence against women and all gender-based violence. That's done largely by teaching men an awareness and a set of behaviors that can stop patterns of violence from passing down to younger generations. Sheriff Donna Buckley has some heartfelt remarks to share.
As the sheriff, it's my responsibility to run the jail. And at the Barnstable County Correctional Facility, we see the truth and the tragedy of domestic violence every day. The top charge for leading to incarceration in 2023 is domestic assault. 162 charges of A and B on family members. The next most common charge, 100 charges of assault and battery. The next most common charge is assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. And anecdotally, 90% of those cases, the people know each other. And in a good portion of those cases, there is more than just an acquaintance. What we also see is that men are both the perpetrators and the victims of domestic violence. And the ugly truth is, mostly men are the perpetrators. National studies show that 90% of people who commit violent physical assaults are male. Men perpetrate 95% of all serious domestic violence assaults. 95% of reported assaults on spouses are committed by men against women. And 81% of men who beat their wives watched their fathers beat their mothers or were abused as children.
Keep your eye on FCTV for the full White Ribbon event. And you know, Eileen, a lot of the conversation during the program was people talking about locker room humor and other things that can kind of escalate seemingly innocent behavior into action that is really troublesome.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You start to get comfortable with that. It can get worse and worse. And interesting what she said about 90% of domestic violence is men, and we do have to have conversations with men, you know, that really tell them that, as you know, as a father of a daughter, I'm a mother of a daughter, how important it is to make everybody feel equal.
Absolutely, and hopefully this program is going to help.
At a separate library event, local lawmakers addressed concerns about a different kind of violence, the political unrest that could arise in connection with upcoming November elections. State Representative David Vieira and Dylan Fernandez had stories to share that were both personal and alarming.
We've been looking at the climate in the country, but also the climate in the Commonwealth, right? And we always say that we're different and we have different laws and we have different regulations, but we are seeing more and more of the change in climate in the Commonwealth in particular areas. And I gave a speech at my little birthday party on Abraham Lincoln's birthday the other day where I talked about a cold civil war, okay? The second civil war in this country, but this is a cold war. And if it becomes a hot war after this election, it could be a turning point as to whether or not this experiment continues.
I mean, it's happening here. I really think that law enforcement needs to take it a lot more seriously, and they are. There's always been combativeness in politics. I'm fine with that. Like, we signed up for that, you know. There's always going to be some level of combativeness and disagreement. We did not sign up for, like, physical violence. And no one should sign up for that in this country or in any democracy, threats of physical violence, because you can't have a democracy if the people running it, getting elected to it, are at risk for their lives. And as some of you might know, like I had a decently high-profile spat with a politician, we'll say, and I had thousands of responses to that spat come through my office. A couple were several credible death threats, and to the point where the state police actually went. These people who were making death threats weren't from Massachusetts, but the state police actually went and knocked on some doors, or had doors knocked on in other states, of at least two individuals who sent a credible death threat to me, and also my staff in my office. I felt really bad for my 1 year out of college, Carly, who worked for me, that she is in the office and has to have the state police come by just to check on her. That should not happen in a democratic society, but that happened to me. That's where we're at.
And just so you know, the story that Dylan tells is, I know a half a dozen individuals that have had either the institutional security, or in some cases, state police going to the home for a period of time and being in the neighborhood at the house. So it's not an isolated case.
Knock on wood, now that it's April, there's one thing we don't need to worry about right away, and that's a massive snowstorm. But those days will come again, sooner or later, and we have to be prepared. We've got FCTV's AmeriCorps member, Luke Hudson, to help us out with that. He reports now from the latest local Emergency Preparedness Committee meeting, where students gamed out a major blizzard response called Operation Whiteout.
We have had a great partnership with MMA and the students that have done their projects through us, and I attribute a lot of that to Kim, because she's very eager to lend support when we're asked, and we're always available to participate because it's invaluable to us.
After 4 years of struggling through school, this is their final presentation that really culminates all 4 years of their emergency management classes. So really appreciate you coming and supporting them and supporting Falmouth, and a special thanks to Falmouth, because they are a really great partner that we utilize quite a bit, and they're very supportive and very responsive to the students, and just wanted to say thank you.
The blizzard is slated to impact Cape Cod, bringing 3 to 4 feet of snow and temperatures averaging 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Notification is given to citizens 3 days prior, but many choose not to prepare. The blizzard and a damaged generator causes intermittent power outages at the hospital and surrounding areas.
If there's a safety issue, like a live line or something like that, they can come and they can de-energize it. But the captain's correct, they won't do anything until the storm kind of comes to a...
Great job, great exercise. Thank you.
Yeah.
And now our eyes turn to the cosmos, where, among the billions of stars in the sky, the one nearest to us will soon be blotted out for about 4.5 minutes. I'm talking about the partial solar eclipse, set to be visible here on the Cape on April 8th.
I can't wait. Whenever you watch any solar eclipse, it's imperative that you protect your eyes with a few safety rules. Falmouth High School science teacher Chris Brothers briefed a local audience on exactly what takes place during an eclipse and how to view one safely.
If you try to look at the sun on a normal day, how do you react? It's too bright, right? You squint, Exactly. Okay. So that's like a normal protective thing to keep you from having your retinas damaged by the sun, because you wouldn't look at the sun on a normal day. But during an eclipse, you're probably more tempted to look at the sun. At least you're trying to look at the sun. So it's not like the sun is any more dangerous, but people maybe do sillier things, let's say. Okay, so first of all, please don't use sunglasses, cameras, binoculars, and so forth. Those things are not safe. In fact, binoculars and cameras can be actually more dangerous. So eclipse glasses are safe, but it's also important that you get your glasses from a reputable source. And the American Astronomical Society has approved vendors. Okay, here's some other ways that you can look at an eclipse. Judy, you want to come up and demonstrate? So this is essentially acting like a bunch of pinhole projectors. Ooh, this is pretty groovy, isn't it? Ooh, it gets better. Okay, so obviously right now, all of those circles are just circles. They will not look like eclipses. And we've played around with this to see if you can cover it. It doesn't work because the light source is too close. Okay, that would be a good look. This on your head, eclipse glasses, yeah.
And I can bring in radio stations.
So anyway, this is a way that if you have like a largest sort of group and you want a lot of people to be able to see all at once.
They all look through this?
Nope, you just watch it on a wall like that, okay? Now, as I was saying right now, or on the ground, yep, and as I was saying right now, like the flashlight is too small and too close. With the sun's rays, you will actually see what will look like, well here, it will look like the eclipse. It will look like a crescent, right? Okay, so that's a fun thing. Paul, you want to come on up here and do the next one? We're too close here, but with the sun's rays, all of those little rectangles projected on the ceiling and on the wall will be an image of the eclipse. So this is another way you can, show an eclipse to a large group of people all at once. Okay, Sue Netto, you hold this so that the light goes through the little pinhole, and there's tinfoil there. And then what she should see is a little white circle of light back here from the flashlight, but obviously when this is an eclipse, you would see the actual image of the eclipse there.
Oh, I see it.
Aha, yay, success. Okay, good.
Hang on to those special eclipse goggles. Astronomers say you're going to need them another 20 years from now.
Oh, good. Yeah.
They don't just protect your eyes, they're also quite stylish. And you know, Eileen, I got us both a pair.
Oh, you're too kind.
Oh my goodness, let's try these on, all right?
You spend all this money.
Oh boy.
These won't last
As we look up, we'll be able to see the eclipse, so.
Can't see anything right now, but maybe when the sun does its trick.
While we're trying to get our eyes adjusted, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back soon.
If your area is under hurricane watch or warning, do you know what to do? These are the 5 crucial steps you can take to prepare for a storm of this severity. Learn about your area's emergency plans, such as evacuation routes and sheltering plans. Pay close attention to alerts, as evacuation details can change, and it may take up to 34 hours to evacuate over the bridge in extreme conditions. Ensure your home and vehicle are packed with emergency supplies such as food, water, and medical supplies. Secure windows and doors to avoid destruction. Protect any household objects that could be hazardous when damaged, especially utilities. To learn more, contact your local emergency management division or visit ready.gov/plan.
A menagerie of nature is on display at FCTV's Art Gallery this month. Stop by FCTV and see the works of Patrick Lawhead and Nancy Duffany. They use figurative and abstract styles to capture the beauty of nature's parade, and they incorporate natural and found materials into their pieces. See for yourself at FCTV's Community Media Center on Dillingham Avenue anytime through April 28th. Open hours are 12 to 8 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Fridays.
The annual Falmouth STEAM Fair is 46 years young. Do you remember what STEAM stands for, Eileen?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I do not. No. Science, technology, engineering, and Michael.
And math. You would have gotten it right if you had said math, but that's pretty amazing. This year's fair took place recently at the high school and gave students a chance to wow the community with their grasp of what makes the world work. Ryan Weber has the story.
We are so excited to be hosting the 46th annual Falmouth Public Schools STEAM Fair in celebration of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. We have Salt the whale here. She's a little museum of her own to go and explore. We have 100 projects by students from pre-K through 12th grade. Some are showcasing, some are waiting to be awarded. We have a giant flush toilet system that kids can crawl through, and a buoyancy challenge that anyone can bring a boat to see how many pennies they can hold. High school students could choose to be judged previous to this day. We had a 3-day judging session, 2 days of the first round via Zoom, and the 3rd day with the final round. Those students are waiting to see how they scored with local judges from WHOI, from MBL, from SEA, from NOAA. Our junior high students, some of them were judged previously on March 5th, and today we welcomed anyone, whether they were judged or not, to come and present a project.
I wondered what the best filter material was. So I gathered a few easily accessible materials.
By conducting this experiment, we learned that the metabolic rate of embryonic fishes is sensitive to environmental temperature.
This acts as the catalyst, so once we pour it in, the bubbles, it'll release a lot of oxygen and the soapy water will contain the bubbles. So it kind of pours out like that, makes a cool reaction.
What's beautiful about the STEAM Fair is it's a way to connect our students to our greater science community. We have a wealth of community neighbors that are our parents, our friends, our family members of our students. And here we can see local organizations that are thrilled to share what they do with our students. It's a way for Falmouth students to realize that they live in a worldwide community that's dedicated to science.
Let's turn to something Michael knows a thing or two about, promoting local business. In this case, we're talking about tourism, an industry that has shaped Cape Cod's identity for nearly a century.
Correct.
Yeah, the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce hosted a forum recently to look at the state of tourism's economy and welcomed Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll as a guest speaker.
We have so many unique regions, so many things to celebrate in Massachusetts. How do we help amplify the great work you're doing in this region, whether that's with dollars or policy shifts? We want to be that partner, and that's part of what Team Massachusetts is all about. Probably our biggest challenge in Massachusetts is the high cost of living. Housing contributes to that, childcare contributes to that. How can we help make investments and policy shifts to develop the type of housing policies we need across the Commonwealth that can reduce the cost of living here? Our biggest outmigration right now in this Commonwealth is not seniors retiring to Florida, although I might aspire to do that sometime. It's actually 26 to 35-year-olds who are finding it really difficult to live here, to purchase a home, to do all the things that many of us in this room had a chance to do. That's one of the reasons we're really leaning in on the housing front. But housing, childcare, trying to be a Commonwealth that recognizes we want thriving families here. We want folks to be able to age in place with dignity and respect. We want to be able to be a place where young people may come here to go to school, but they can stay here and raise a family. And for us, housing is a big piece of that. You'll hear a lot more about that. But affordability, think about how we can make our state more affordable as we think about those sorts of issues. And that's all of us, right? And then equity. And we're not just talking about racial equity, but we know there are impacts in our Commonwealth and disparities that exist, everything from healthcare to education. There's geographic equity. There's large parts of this Commonwealth that sometimes feel like Boston forgot about them. We want to make sure as we think about what's a thriving economy, it means no matter where you live, whatever your zip code is, you have access to opportunity. And that's why we're also primarily focused on where do we make investments, the places we may need to put our thumb on the scale to get the sort of investments and activity that we know you need to have to be a thriving economy and frankly a thriving community.
So we're interested in who visits the Cape, what do they do while they're here, how long do they stay, how much money do they spend, how does that activity vary by season, and other opportunities. So at the Chamber, we've been really diving deeper into the mechanics of this and looking at data sets that will help inform us on this. And in 2022, the Cape's tourism economy generated $181 million in state and local tax receipts, second only to Greater Boston. So we are a revenue generator for the Commonwealth. You know, travel and tourism was the #1 impacted industry by COVID-19 across the country. But we did really well. And we did well primarily because we're not a resort community, we're a second homeowner community. 37% of the housing stock on the Cape are second homes. These are people that are vested in this community, and when in times of national distress, a lot of people choose to shelter on the Cape. We saw that after 9/11. We definitely saw it during the pandemic.
You know, Eileen, as Paul indicated, tourism will always be a part of our local economy, but more increasingly, it's really being fueled by the second homeowners in that market that are coming in here. So things are changing, and it's good to see the Cape Cod Chamber leading the way on promoting, the Cape as a whole as a destination.
What would we do without the Chamber, huh?
That's right, right? The latest marketing campaign to draw visitors to Cape Cod comes with the tagline, "Truly Yours." The Cape Chamber recently produced a new video to sell that campaign to tourism marketers far and wide. Here's a look at that video now.
We all have memories of Cape Cod, and the windswept dunes, the fresh salt air, and that one-of-a-kind feeling that welcomes us are ours to share. But the people we share it with, the feelings we experienced, and the moments that made us come back are all our own. Cape Cod, unlike anywhere else in the world, makes an indelible mark on people's lives. From the shoreline to the quaint village centers, from a day at the beach to a night on the town. Whether you've been here for years or you've only just arrived, it's time to embrace the moments that make Cape Cod a part of you, in a way that feels truly personal, truly remarkable, and truly yours. It begins with a unique, timeless signature, a thumbprint crafted by hand from the rich heritage of Cape Cod's 15 distinctive towns, and the sand, sea, and sky that provide the backdrop for our time here, with a blend of lowercase and uppercase type to combine a genuine voice with a final, reassuring whisper. And colors that evoke the Cape's natural beauty, its cultural traditions, and its bright, vibrant future, instilled with a personality that's lived on Cape Cod for generations and will always stand the test of time. Wistful, kind, witty, genuine, and welcoming. Together, these elements capture the endless possibilities waiting for you on Cape Cod and the promise of more to come. So go ahead, choose your own adventure, because Cape Cod is truly yours.
Well, Eileen, what do you think?
Oh, that video is amazing. And what I loved was that logo image at the end, which sort of captures the wind and the water all together, sort of the movement of Cape Cod. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Cape is competing with a lot of other destinations. So as our local economy grows due to the second homeowners and other folks who are here, it's imperative that we continue to push the tourism to get those dollars here rather than people traveling to other places in the country and spending their dollars there. Mm-hmm. Well, in just a moment, the Falmouth Theater Guild takes us to a world of pure imagination with a stop to see the Candyman along the way.
I'll see y'all.
I got some batteries and 2 flashlights.
What's up, champ?
Flashlight is cool.
I feel like you get taller every time I see you. Congratulations, Brandon. Game back to game.
Falmouth is soon to have a new Outstanding Citizen of the Year for 2024. The Falmouth Chamber of Commerce chose Troy Clarkson for that honor, and he'll be formally recognized at a hotel dinner ceremony in May. Troy is a local newspaper contributor and plays important roles in a whole bunch of great local organizations, including the Falmouth Housing Trust, Falmouth Cares, Belonging to Each Other, and many more.
You know, I say all the time, it takes a name to make a town, but people to make a community. And so this recognition really belongs to all of us, the organizations that lift up this community, that make it what it is. And I'm just grateful to have been a part of so many organizations. And so this recognition really is for the entirety of the community.
Michael, you run the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce. How did you pick Troy this year?
Well, that's really a good question. So Troy was selected among more than a dozen nominations that came from the community. The executive committee of the board of directors serves as the nominating committee, goes through those recommendations very seriously and reads through them, and then makes a recommendation which is put to a vote by the full board. This year, unanimously, the board voted for Troy Clarkson due to the breadth, the depth of his work, the years he's been doing it, and really the amount of lives he's touched in all the different things you talked about that he did. So we could not be more pleased. Well-deserving for Troy.
Congratulations, Troy Clarkson.
Yeah. And now to a figure almost as magical as Troy, Willy Wonka. The Falmouth Theater Guild is producing a musical version of the legendary Candy Mogul's classic story, originally written as a novel by Roald Dahl. FCTV stopped by an evening rehearsal to get a peek at the production.
We need to get more sound out of you guys. We're definitely leaning on the Gene Wilder version, both from the point of view of music, but also in terms of the sensibility of it.
I know, 'cause I was there.
The rehearsals are interesting, but we're coming along because we're like the adults are all there doing stuff, and all the kids are learning their dances and singing. And so for a lot of them, it's their first show that they've ever done.
Chocolate ices, chocolate's prices, grow and grow and grow. The day that I retire, no.
It's a big deal. They're excited. They are bonding with each other, and a lot of them have great ideas. And the wonderful thing about kids is they'll say, "Can we do X?" And you say, yes. Let's do it, or no. And they say, okay, and they don't make a big event out of how many shows they've already been in, and they know all about it.
What? Exactly.
Yeah, so this is Veruca Salt here, and I'm Mr. Salt. She's also known as Audrey Wonkel, and I'm actually her father, Scott Wonkel.
It's a lot of fun. It's nice to be able to like debrief afterwards in the car ride home, like talk about highs and lows of rehearsal, what we thought went well. We could practice at home together.
This is Phineas Stroud coming from you live from Frankfurt, Germany.
Augustus is on the bigger side. Augustus is like a pig, kinda.
I eat more! I eat more! I eat more!
I play Violet Beauregard. She's a gum chewer from Georgia, and she really is in it just so she can, like, gut the gum that Wonka makes.
Dude! Charlie Bucket is a kind, very sweet and humble kid, and he just tries to do good for his family, and is very loving.
Who's there? This is really a redemption story. It's a story about how something absolutely terrible can turn to something absolutely wonderful because of the nature of the person who's involved with the story. Charlie is a good human being.
The golden age of chocolate has lasted all these years. The golden stage of chocolate that every child reveres. There's a golden page of chocolate.
That's going to wrap up our show for the moment. I'm Eileen Preston.
And I'm Michael Kasparian. Keep checking in at fctv.org/watch to catch community programming around the clock. Until next time, we'll see you around town.